what does the Journal want to get out of its viewers to the live programming? Is it just sort of you know, an enhanced experience while they're there? Is it sort of finding a new audience? What do we?
Well, I think one of the things we want to do is we want to be able to keep surprising people. We want to bring people back because they're not going to know from one show to the next or from one video to the next what they might get. We can't get locked into a routine to the point where people want to sort of, people know what to expect and begin to turn away. We need to be a platform for breaking news. So we need to be able to analyze the news in a smart way to bring them back. But we also have to bring people to us to break news on our platform. And that's one way, I think, of keeping people, viewers a little bit off balance, but engaged and wanting to see what we might have to do next.
So do you mean like breaking stories that they're about to publish, or news that they've learned about?
Not ahead of, no, but to be on in such a way that when a story breaks, first of all, we're first out with it because we're the most efficient means of distributing that information. We're probably just as fast as any news wire. But also to invite people on and interview them and ask them questions and probe them in such a way that they might give us some news. And increasingly, I think one of the things we're finding is that people want to come to our news organization because they have an opportunity to be on video, because they think that video might be a platform for them to make a little news. I mean, I guess a good example of a surprise recently is we had the economist Nouriel Roubini on. He did a long-form interview with one of our correspondents, and he said something kind of funny. He said that Karl Marx was right when he was discussing economic theory. Now that got an awful lot of attention. That was a big surprise. And I have a feeling that people are going to come back to the big interview now because they don't know what the next big interview might have in store for them. That's how we want to engage them. Never get locked into a routine.
Dan?
Have Justin Bieber every time. Yeah, I think news is unpredictable, so we have that, all have that advantage that when we do video or we go live, that it's some event that people really want to know about, and if we can bring our best correspondents and experts, and as you said, get people over Skype or in the studio or on some remote, that's a big advantage. And certainly we're all competing with the cables and everyone else to be that place that people go where they trust and they know that they're going to get the best take on that news.
Ann?
I would echo that. I mean, the thing I would say that we also know is we have reporters in a lot of parts of the world, so that we have this. I think that people come to us because they know who some of these people are, and they have the opportunity to see Jeffrey Gettleman from Nairobi, or somebody from somewhere else, and they're not going to get that anywhere else. So I think that's one of the reasons people are coming back to us, and one of the things they're interested in. And then it is kind of, I think the surprise element is really important, or kind of surprising in a good way, like something you're not going to get to see that somewhere else, and if you keep letting people think that that's going to be an experience they're going to have, then I think they're more interested in kind of returning. And I also think that you do the Journal does very regular programming instead of CBS, but that's, I think just knowing that every day you're going to have something at a certain time of day, or you're going to have, like, every week you're going to have a certain kind of a content. I think people come back for that too.
We have lots of regular programming,
right,
not just on television but on the web with our Hot Sheet Live program or other things, but always it's like you can have the show, but if it doesn't really deliver much in terms of ahas, if it has no magic moments,
people don't,
then it's hard to attract an audience over time.
Because it's hard. I mean, in a way, there's this demand for content from advertisers, from publishers. Crank it out, get more stuff.
But we
do
have
more
to
inventory. But how do you? But you have to keep it good.
But it has to be quality. I mean, and I also think you have to know your audience. So, here's an example. We have, like, obviously kind of a pretty kind of quirky New York Times audience. One of, like, the most there's two features that are particularly popular in video. One is this Bill Cunningham, who does basically what are audio slideshows with pictures. He does these, like, street photos with his narration. They're hugely popular. They come up every week. There's one a week, and they get huge traffic because people know on the weekend they're going to see them. And then the other thing, like a completely quirky thing, is Tony Tomasini, who did a whole series on, like, the best composers in the world. And last year it was a blog, but he decided he was going to, like, not only blog it, but he was going to play the like say this is a bit of Bach, and we have him at his his grand piano in his apartment. huge like traffic. I mean, where else do people come and watch someone playing a grand piano? Except, you know, it's just like, so it's like that's, but it was quality, and it was quality for a specific audience, and he knew, he was the one who came and sold it to us, he knew that people would want to watch that. So I think that's what's also interesting about a web audience.
Fantastic.